Hello there, my name is Eric Jackson and this is the Support for Supers channel. To give you some idea why I've started this channel, I thought I would do an introduction video to let you know a bit about me and to see how this channel can relate with you. So growing up, and even to this day, I watched superhero movies and anime, played various RPGs, and read sci-fi and fantasy stories. All the heroes that I saw in this various media were people who could control the world around them. They had great powers. Bullets bounced off them, they could fly and shoot energy beams. Things that I wished I could do myself. In fact, it was because of those characters that I got into martial arts, because that seemed like one of the ways I could get close to being a superhero in real life. Now, the thing is, I was bullied as a kid. I didn't feel like I had a lot of control, and that led to a rather bleak outlook on life. I was often depressed, anxious, and I didn't have the best view of others. That attitude, especially as I got older, was concerning to some people, and that didn't help. I felt angrier and ashamed because of that. I didn't know how to deal with all the frustration and stress very well, and it took a long time, well into my 20s, before I really began to start figuring that out. I was angry. I was angry at my brother, who got along well with others. I was angry at all the people he got along well with, because it felt like neither of them were showing all that much depth of themselves, and that seemed very dishonest to me. I was angry that I couldn't get dates, and other guys were obviously having a good time with the girls I knew. When I started my own business, I was angry that being disingenuous seemed to be the thing people wanted. I'd been told all of my life that lying was wrong, and yet here as an adult, I was seeing that tailoring the truth would not only benefit me, it seemed to be what others wanted. Here I was, busting my butt off to be an honest and good person, and I was getting no recognition for it, while all the shallower, flashier people of the world were just soaring past me. I was better than them, and yet I wasn't getting anywhere. On top of all this, I was getting told to rein in my temper and not be so critical with people. I was never told that I was wrong, just that my feelings didn't matter. That I was supposed to be responsible when others, even those who were my peers and seniors, wouldn't take responsibility for themselves. That I was just supposed to suck it up and deal, because that's the way it is if you want to get anywhere. Well, I felt terrible, and all that baggage hasn't gone away. But I finally figured out how to move past it. As hard as it was, I realized that I get to choose who I am and what that means. I came to realize that my critical views towards others, especially my brother, were unjustified. It wasn't his fault that I was upset because of his success. And if the roles were reversed, I would still be pursuing my goals in spite of his feelings too. The same went for all the happy couples I saw through high school and college. My anger at lacking what they had was not their fault. Even some people who did directly hurt me, I've been able to look back and say that at the time, they were not particularly wise to their own actions. it reflects poorly on me if I continue to hold a grudge over what someone did when they were a child, or even a young adult sometimes. There are even things that my parents encouraged me towards that I now feel were at least a poor use of my time, and that has had negative impacts later in my life. But they were doing what they thought was best based on their own life experiences. And their life experiences are different from mine. I can't blame them for failing to predict the future and still consider myself to be a just or fair person. Even if I have cause to be angry with someone from my past now, they can't hurt me anymore. I have decided that I don't want to be the angry, depressed, miserable person that I was. Now, this isn't to say that I don't get angry. I still do. There are plenty of things in my life and the world around me that are irritating and upsetting. There are inconsiderate people who I have to deal with. But I've placed my own character and emotional health first. I want to move forward with my life and not be burdened by anger or bitterness or other emotional baggage. I want to have a great impact on the world and the people around me. And I can't do that if I'm a sour, pissed off person. I've learned how to address my feelings and get what I want out of life. I don't dwell on the bad anymore, or at least not as much. So before we go any further, I want to make some things clear. I'm a life coach, a small business owner, and an Oriental health practitioner. I've been an active martial artist for almost 20 years, and I'm a nerd, hence the name Support for Supers. I'm not a mental health provider. I cannot diagnose or treat mental trauma, and I certainly cannot prescribe pharmaceuticals to assist in that treatment. I can recommend dietary practices and nutritional supplements to address stress management and I can help you plan for and achieve your life goals. And that includes helping you to discover the mindsets and behaviors you can take on to be successful. So, to make it a little easier, it's outside my scope to treat depression, but I can help you achieve a happier life. I'm making this channel for a number of reasons. First, I want to share what I've learned. I want to help nerdy guys and girls who are going through similar things to what I went through. So often we excelled in school or extracurriculars, but as soon as there was no curriculum, we floundered. It was just assumed that we would pick up on the social skills for success, and that just wasn't the case. We never got it presented in a way that we could comprehend. I want to fill in those gaps and save you and others from having to go through the years of emotional anguish that I did. Second, this is a way to keep me accountable and practice what I preach. I have goals in my life, and if I don't put the skills I've learned into use, I will fail. That's not acceptable. I'm wanting to get where I'm wanting to get, and failure is not an option. Third, I want to improve communication between others. The world we live in is at a really delicate point, and everyone needs to be able to talk and listen to each other because there are some issues that we can't afford to wait on anymore. Decisions need to be made and acted on, and if we cannot genuinely communicate with each other, then we're in for some pretty nasty consequences. Lastly, I want to prove to myself that I am a hero. No matter how much I may have noble ideas, no matter how insightful my views, if I'm lashing out at others or fail to move forward on my goals or just simply not use my knowledge and skills to help others, then whatever I might accomplish on paper is meaningless. And that's a big point. I think a lot of nerdy folks out there have fantastic ideas. They dream big and they could make a wonderful impact on their communities and even the world. But because they were never taught how to interact with others, they never get off the ground. I want to change that for those of you who are willing to rise to the task. So long as you have a purpose and a way to act, you can achieve your goals. Now, before I end this video, I'm going to leave you with a thought on being your best. It comes from a truly epic speech by 𝗏𝗏, who's the dwarven cleric of the webcomic Order of the Stick, if you haven't heard of them before. It's strip number 1130, Better Days. You told me before that you are who you are on the worst day of your life. And that's true. That's 100% true. But you know who else you are? You are who you are on the next day. You are who you are on all of your days. All of them. Including the worst and the best. Every single one counts. All the way to the end. Every day counts. Be the hero you are, and have a great week.